Reenwalt. I'm a lieutenant with the Austin Police Department Homicide and Aggravated Assault Unit. Good afternoon. Wait for the sirens to go, sorry. Okay, we'll try again. Good afternoon, thank you for coming. We are here today to talk about Austin's murder number 36 of 2020, which occurred Tuesday, September 29th at approximately 8:41 p.m. Austin 911 received a call of a male with a gunshot wound in the parking lot of Walgreens on Tech Ridge Boulevard. When officers arrived, they located a 16-year-old male by the name of Luke Kemper, and were able to get him medical assistance and to the hospital as quickly as they could. However, unfortunately, he succumbed to his injuries once he was transported to the hospital. There were some people that were with Luke at the time of this incident, which is obviously still under investigation. The people who were with him were not completely honest with the Austin Police Department detectives as we were asking what happened and the circumstances surrounding Luke's murder. And that provided a significant delay in us locating the crime scene and finding evidence and identifying additional witnesses. Within 24 hours, we're able to identify where the crime actually occurred, which was the 12300 block of Yarmont Way, which is near the intersection of Yeager and Palmer, not too far from the Walgreens. And we were able to collect evidence at the scene, and we're able to identify additional witnesses. We are in the process of identifying who all was involved, the other party that was there as well, and we're also asking for the public's assistance. If anybody knows who was involved in this altercation, we want you to contact the Austin Police Department Homicide Unit at our tip line, which is 512-974-TIPS. We know at this point in time that it was some sort of a drug transaction, that a small amount of marijuana was being either purchased or sold, and there may or may not have been some sort of robbery that was happening at the same time because of the drugs, which is unfortunately here in Austin really all too frequent of an occurrence. When we investigate murders, we find out very often that there's some sort of a drug transaction or robbery that accompanies that murder, and unfortunately we have a 16-year-old child who's lost his life because of it. So we're wanting to know anybody who has any information. We already have had several people come forward who are familiar with Luke and the circle of friends that they hang around with, and they provided very valuable information. We feel like in the tight circles that they run with, in the schools that they go to, that there's probably a lot of people talking with each other about what may have occurred and maybe sharing information on social media. So if anybody has any information, as small as you think it might be, please contact the Austin Police Department. You can remain anonymous through Crime Stoppers if you'd like to do that, and let us know what you know. We'd like to get justice for Luke. Are there any questions about this case? So that's a good question. It actually happened in the street in that block range. It wasn't at a specific house, and we believe that the drug transaction happened in the street. The exact circumstances of what happened and how it all went down is what we're trying to figure out, and we're trying to sort through those details. After the shots were fired in the 12300 block of Yarmont, then they drove to the Walgreens, and that's where they called 911. Can't hear you. I heard the first part, but not the second. We do know how many people are in the car. We're not releasing specific facts at this time because it's an ongoing investigation, but there were several people who we identified from the very beginning of the investigation. No shots were fired at Walgreens.
So the last 24 hours, I think we've covered at least 3 other shootings.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any commonalities in that? Why would gun violence increase in this period of time?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's one that we're asking ourselves. We have an analyst that's assigned to the homicide unit, and we have an analyst that's assigned to our ag assault unit, and a third analyst that's assigned to the robbery unit. So usually when shots are fired in Austin, it's going to fall into one of those 3 investigative units. If somebody dies, it goes to homicide. If they're not deceased, it goes to ag assault. If there was a robbery involved, it goes to robbery. So they're trying to find out, and what we're seeing is that the same reasons that people were shooting guns and killing people and robbing people before 2020 are the same reasons they're doing it now. It's just happening more often. So exactly why that's happening, we would like to know the answer. Right now, we would only be speculating if we came to any conclusions.
So you're talking about the drugs and marijuana specifically.
The only thing that's changed is there's more of the same. All the same reasons. We get drug murders. There's a little bit of family violence. There's some random kind of neighbor and acquaintance disputes, ongoing type stuff. And we're seeing all the same reasons. There's no new causes of murders in 2020. It's just more of them. Anytime someone loses their life, it's disturbing to us. But when you see the children, it definitely strikes a heartstring. I don't have specific ages on everybody, but everything that I've seen, it was all a bunch of young people for sure. I think the advice that we give parents is the same advice that we've given parents for years and years, that everybody should, that is to be involved in your children's life. Not to say that these parents weren't, I'm not calling them out, but in general, if we were giving advice, we would say be involved in your children's life, know who their friends are, know what they're doing, and make sure that if there's a problem or a concern that their children have, that they are trusting their parents to come to them and talk to them. That's all part of the investigation that we're looking into. We hope so. I mean, I can tell you that in my experience, whenever something like this happens in a group of younger people, there's generally more friends and associates, and they usually talk about it a lot more, and we get more information from those types of circles. Yeah, we're not releasing information on exactly how many suspects that were there, but I can tell you it was definitely isolated to this incident, that we do not believe that they were firing at anybody else, and we do not believe that there's a general threat to the public because of this incident. I don't have all the histories on everybody, so I couldn't answer that question. Thank you.